Now, to chew through the aftermath of the Tory party conference, I'm joined now by former Boris Johnson advisor Tim Montgomery and former Tony Blair advisor John McTernan. Good morning, gentlemen. Lovely to see you both again. Can I just, first of all, going back to that story we've just seen Darren talking about there, Tim, if I can start with you, the European political community, good idea?
I think it's always a good idea, Bev, if leaders around the world talk to each other. You know, we even have to talk to our enemies. You know, that's what Ronald Reagan did when he was president of the United States. He called the Soviet Union the evil empire, yet he still talked to them. And that's how we got some of the arms treaty negotiations that succeeded. So absolutely, we should be talking with our friends. You know, we left the European Union because we didn't want to be part of a structure that told us what to do on things like immigration and taxes. But I think it's still important that the European nations, they're our friends, they're our allies still. We still cooperate with them in organisations like NATO, and we should still talk to them in organisations the kind that President Macron seems to be pioneering.
OK, super. Thank you, Tim. Right, John, let's reflect a little. I'm sure you were watching the Tory party conference. I bet you didn't miss a moment of it, did you? Now, how was it for you as a former advisor to Tony Blair? Did you sit there in delight, the fact that it started off with this quite embarrassing U-turn from Kwasi Kwarteng and they weren't sure what the relationship was like between the two of them? What did you make of it all by the end of the week?
Well, we always thought before Tony's speech at the conference he had to speak to the whole country because Labour governed for the whole country. And what you saw in Tory party conference this week was that Liz Truss doesn't even govern the whole of her party or the whole of her cabinet. The extraordinary disunity when Suella Braverman calls the campaign to reverse the higher rate of tax, a coup, when you have cabinet ministers disagreeing about operating benefits. All of this goes to show a party at each other's throats, not caring about the country, not focusing on the country. And in the end, the PM's speech was directed at calming her base, calming the conference, speaking to our MPs. It was a speech noticeably not aimed at the country at all. And it's the one chance you get every year to speak directly to the country as the leader of your party. So, at the moment, things are terrible for the country. This government is terrible for the country, but it's all great for the Labour Party.
Tim, it was a conference then of division. Do you agree?
Well, unfortunately, it was a conference of division. It's hard to argue with what John has just said, unfortunately, as much as I would like to. The defence, I think, of Liz Truss is that Britain does have a growth problem. Our trend rate of growth over the last couple of decades under both the Labour government that John supported and the Conservative governments that I've supported has been too low. And so Liz Truss's fundamental mission to get Britain moving, as the conference slogan said, is the right one. I think the problem with what she has done is it was obviously the mini budget was badly executed. And I don't think there's been a proper acknowledgement by her, and I don't think it happened in yesterday's speech, that while her mission may be a very good one, it wasn't what was emphasised to the British people at the last general election. So she only has a limited mandate for it. And therefore, she really has to work harder at taking us all with her. She has to work harder at taking her parliamentary party with her, and she has to work harder at taking the country with her.
Is it just about hard work, though, John? Does she have the personality, the charisma, the good communication skills to take all of those people along with her, no matter how hard she works?
Look, I think we had in Boris Johnson one of the great political characters, a man of great communication skills, huge charisma, and I think both Keir Starmer and Liz Truss in their different ways are a reaction to that. I think we may well, Michael Gove said you've had enough of experts. I think we may have had enough of characters as our prime ministers, and maybe we just need people who put things straightforwardly, simply, clearly, and allow the public a choice. I think the difficulty for Liz Truss is the real world. And today we see fixed rate mortgages on the market at 6%. They were 2.3% before Christmas. 3,000 households come off fixed rate mortgages every day in the UK, and they're facing an average hike of £400 or £500 a month in mortgage repayments. There's nothing that can be done about that now by the government. They create the situation where long-term interests are being driven up far faster in the UK than anywhere else in the world. And those circumstances are going to be brutal. The drumbeat over the next 12 months, 2 years, is going to be of higher interest rates, higher mortgage repayments, and people not being able to buy the house they want. I think it's going to be a grim, and it dwarfs the energy bills, which we know people were fearing. And I think it's at the heart of the threat to the home-owning democracy. You know, the thing that Keir said Labour's now in favour of. Labour were stealing Thatcher's clothes while the Tory party were tearing themselves apart.